Yeah. Batiste did return. Yeah. Um, Surprisingly well.
Other than about to burn up, I'm doing all right. Who, me?
Yeah. Well, oh wait. Apparently, I was muted on my end, so it's just everybody listening to your responses. So I guess I restated. I moved, and it's a big thanks to Cannon. You were better at most of that than the rest of us, especially me towards the end, because I was either ready to be done or tired or pissed.
Well, considering less than a year earlier, I had the experience of doing it myself with 22 years of accumulation. I had some things to add.
Definitely. The reason I've been outside is I did agree to clear out where the garden used to be so I could get all my garden beds. Got all my garden beds. Now I gotta move dirt, and it's been hot. So doing that, and then the other thing I've done today is I ran tech support for Stephanie, who is a friend of my uncle's, who's going to live in the house till he retires and moves in. I set up a Roku because she didn't know how to set up a Roku. I enjoyed it because it was my one break in the air conditioning.
Yeah. I spent the last week in at the beach. Uh, and I am starting a new job on Thursday.
You left Geico?
I am currently in the process of leaving Geico. Wednesday is my last day.
Where are you going to?
I'm actually going to work with Moose.
At the hospitals for
Yep, I'm doing for
never
the
mind.
engineering firm, and we running data lines in the Ochsner Hospital, in the Ochsner Family Hospitals around Lafayette and the surrounding areas. So, so yeah, we position came open. I sent in a resume on the the Wednesday. Set up a meeting for the following Wednesday for an interview. Uh, had the interview at 11:30 and was hired by 2. And by hired, I don't mean, hey, they called me and said that they want me. I mean by 2 o'clock. By 2 o'clock, my W-2 and my W-2 and my W-4 were filled out.
Wow.
Yeah.
Is it a lateral move or a vertical move?
Right now, not from what we were doing, from what me and Moose were doing previously. It is currently lateral. Uh, with a very very good like a potential for this to be upper or be an upward move within a couple of years, if that. Um, like during the interview, it was very apparent that this guy was not hiring technicians. This guy was hiring it was hiring for his management team.
Nice.
So they are when we once they have enough work, essentially once they have enough work, like they're currently looking around for office spaces and a warehouse kind of thing. Uh, and they are once they have enough work, then essentially they're gonna pull us out of the field, and Kyle is going to basically going to be the management manager for Lafayette, and I am essentially going to be running the running being the foreman, running the teams.
that's cool.
So I'm really excited about this. Like I was telling Cannon before we started, I know I made the right move because I work for Geico for another 3 days, and I am currently not a ball of shit. After being out for a week, I would have just been an anxious wreck. But now, at this point, I am just whatever. I just got to make it. I just got to make it. Pretty much make it to Wednesday. I'm only gonna be doing stuff for a day or two, and then I'll be calling to try and calling to set up when I'm gonna be meeting up with my manager to drop off all of my everything else that I have, my printer, my computer, my phone, and my badge, and then that's that. I've actually already turned the car in. I turned the car in Friday before we left.
Yeah, that's definitely a new adventure.
Yep, I can't complain.
The big news with my job is last year I was department head in quotations because
Hmm.
Dr. Garb has, I don't know, 30 years of experience on me teaching, so technically she's the department head. And then everybody realized who was getting some of the stuff done and who actually would listen because Dr. Garb's done it so long. She does not care what you think. She is going to do it and she is going to succeed as she does it, which is not what the district wants. They want someone that'll at least go, okay, that's what you're saying. I'm going to lip service this and then get done what I need to get done.
Yeah,
So
they want someone who will at least look like they attempted it.
yeah. So because of that, I am now officially the head of the department on the academic achievement team with all the other department heads, which means my brother-in-law, who is the least involved, lowest control teacher and has success because he is apparently just a god at teaching math, uh, is also on this team. So we had to sit through a meeting last Tuesday, and we're going to be doing something called expedited remediation. It's going to be across the state because, let's be honest, a lot of kids haven't been in school for about a year and a half with cousin Ronnie coming through. So we're going to be doing Saturday school, before school, after school. We're doing all this stuff. It's questionable on what the pay is. I will say that the academic team does not get additional pay. But if they want anybody to do anything involving more than just school hours, they're going to have to pay. But the thing that both of you are going to laugh at, because y'all know me very well, one of the additional responsibilities I have for it's for students, but as a teacher, you always have it for students. But I now have to do it for the 3 other members of the history department. Is I am in charge of the emotional, social well-being and feelings of 3 other grown adults. And the principal and assistant principal don't understand why I started laughing when they told me I am in charge of someone else's emotional well-being. I am supposed to create a warm, fuzzy environment.
Hmm.
I was going to say, I think the pause says it all.
Hmm. That yeah. Oh, the it is suck it up, Buttercup. Uh, warm and fuzzy.
Oh, it's warmer and fuzzier than me saying "get your shit together."
You are not wrong.
Sounds like somebody that thought of putting you in that position needs to go have their head checked.
Well, the thing is I'm not mean. It's just that, and I am sympathetic. I just don't know if I'm empathetic. Because, like, there's a lot of days, like, you're a grown ass adult. pull your pants up and get the job done. And if you want, I'll go out with drinks for you and let you vent with me later on. But right now, we got a classroom full of kids that need to at least think you got your shit together.
Yeah.
Yeah, empathy and tact are not your fortes.
Tact is definitely not. Tact is definitely not my thing. But it's just one of those of I started laughing and the principal looks at me. Mr. Hall's like, "Oh no, it'll be fine. You're just you want me to make warm and fuzzy feelings." And my brother-in-law is over the side laughing because Mike is worse without seeming as cold. Mike has a whole lot of something I wish I could have, and that is I don't give a shit. Mike has a whole lot of I don't give a shit. I give a little bit of shit.
Mm-hmm.
But Mike comes off as friendly and engaging and talks a whole lot of nonsense and emptiness and just goes on, and people are like, yeah, and then I come over, I ain't gonna do that. That's stupid. And I'm an asshole. Well, I am, but it's one of those of just because I told you to get your shit together makes me an asshole? Come on, man, we're at work. Like my big thing is every last one of us has a problem, and yes, we do need help, and I am very much in support of emotional and mental health. I don't have that gift to give it, and the bigger thing is that you have to, it's the illusion of adulthood, is you have to, in front of a classroom of 30 kids, act like your shit is together, because the second you let them know it's not, or you act like it's not, either they're going to take advantage of it or they're going to panic because they're kids. You have to give them some stability, even if it's just an illusion, so that they don't freak out. If that makes sense.
Hello?
Hello, you there?
Yeah, we're here.
Okay.
I will disconnect and reconnect because I think my connection's being stupid. I will return directly.
All right. But does that make a little bit of sense? What I was saying, Ken, is even if you don't, you have to act like your crap's together so the kids in the room have that semblance of it.
Yeah, because if the kids know your shit ain't together, they ain't no way they gonna listen to what you say.
True. So I mean, but it's just one of those. We're gonna do this. We're gonna talk about this. We're gonna talk about feelings. I'm like, no, I'm not talking about feelings, because there's some stuff once you let it out, it can't be put back up, and then nobody looks at you the same anymore. So, yeah, I'm gonna have to be a psychiatrist for teachers in the state of Louisiana. I think the only thing I can do is prescribe liquor for the most part.
Or a 5-pound ball peen hammer.
Well, I mean, the only other thing I could recommend is here's a piece of wood, here's a hatchet. Hit the piece of wood until it splinters or breaks with hatchet. You're going to feel better once you're done because a lot of stress is going to be relieved.
There we go. Yeah, I'm sorry about that. Apparently Discord decided it wanted to be Discord.
It does that. Like, I won't lie. Sometimes getting out, like digging all the posts to put the fence in and actually being left alone to do it was almost cathartic. Because I was doing something I wanted to do. 2, I did something I needed to do. And 3, I actually made something. And I think that's one of the biggest things to relieve stress and emotional whatevers, is get out and make some. Doesn't matter if it's a good something, doesn't matter if it's a pretty something, just get out and actually make something.
Yep.
And use a lot of that energy to actually make it. You And at least for me, I get the frustration out doing that.
Yeah.
Like the fact that I got to sharpen the axe again now, but using the axe to split a bunch of scrap wood and stuff I pulled out of the shed and some of the limbs I've cut down on the property, hacking them up just to put them into a burn barrel and then sit and watch it burn makes me feel better. And I don't know if that's a good thing. But probably shouldn't say burning things makes me feel better.
Well, I mean, it's the catharsis of the end of a job. You know.
Yeah. So, also, I've been put in charge of a in-service for Tuesday. The other person in the in-service at 7 o'clock sent me a message. Hey, what are we doing for this? Don't know. So let's pull this out of our ass like every other history thing I've been put in charge of, and I have to explain how something works. This is College Board. It's a garbage website with really useful resources that you have to log into every 5 minutes. No, if you leave AP College Board's website idle for like 5 minutes, no joke, it will log you out. You will have to log back in, and then if you want to log into test data, you have to log in again. So, it is the least user-friendly website with some of the best resources for getting your kids to pass a test so they can get a college credit, because that's what the school cares about, but it is the biggest pain in the ass to deal with. Oh, also because I've remodeled a house, they're now considering me to be in charge of the shop again next year.
Have they fixed any? Have they fixed the issues from uh the existing issues with the shop?
No.
You know, like the fire hazards.
No.
Are the electrical fire hazards?
No.
Are the chemical fire hazards?
No.
Are the shoddy machinery that could potentially be disfiguring and or cause fires?
That is just the landscape of a high school shop, and you know that.
I do. Yeah, I was holding out hope for you, brother.
The other fun fact is we have 2 working restrooms in the school currently because they started remodeling them, and then Cousin Ronnie visited the construction team, so I can walk between the men's and women's restrooms, with the exception of the bottom floor of the building I'm in, by passing through the studs of the building. Also, someone has decided to jam a full energy drink down one of the pipes to the toilets already. So God bless that kid. He's a forerunner of trouble for the year to come. He has already started it. I salute you for your ingenuity and being an asshole, sir. So, once again, at least I have a heads up of the dumpster fire I'm walking into, and I will make it fine.
Yeah.
But on a more positive note, Cannon, how's the storage building coming?
I put together 15 sets of rafters yesterday. Got 15 more sets to go, and two sets of eave rafters. Then I'll be ready to uncover and start putting rafters up.
No, that's good. Did you see that Nate called Cannon a beast, Kyle?
No, but so you're asking me if I saw Nate state the obvious? No, I did not.
Yeah, pretty much. Nate hadn't seen anything Cannon's done.
Yeah.
The only thing I think
Nate hadn't what?
Nate hadn't seen any of the stuff you've made before or built. Also, Nate calls me to fix chairs fairly regularly, or used to. I think he finally got them all squared away. But Nate's the one, Cannon, that kept hitting his head on the ceiling fan in the living room.
Yeah, I know who Nate is. He's Topher's brother.
Yep. Oh, excuse me. So, but yeah, Cannon, you pointed this out. We decided to move the hottest weekend of July, and the only weekend in July it did not rain.
I mean, that's yeah. At least there was that.
That there was a trade made, and then spending the next week or so out in the hottest week of July. But I think, you know what? I'm not going to say it because the second I say it, we're going to hit triple digits next week, and then I'll get blamed for it.
I mean, yeah.
For anyone that is listening, we are in South Mississippi and Louisiana, where it is currently Hell's front porch at the moment.
Yeah, we have been having heat indexes of 107 to 109. I think it's hit 110 or 111 a couple times.
And for anyone that's in Arizona or New Mexico saying it's not that bad, we have like 80 to 100% humidity. So it's basically let me swim through scalding hot soup and also have to breathe said soup.
When you reference your days by the number of shirts you have to change into, and most of the days lately have been a 3 or 4 day shirt, a 4 shirt day, so that ought to tell you something.
I stick to one shirt, but currently the one that's being washed has salt deposits in 4 different levels.
Yep. I work for that. I work the same way.
Changing shirts or just counting how hot you were by the number of salt rings?
I mean, that armadillo.
You got an armadillo?
Man, sounds like it.
Don't touch it, you'll get the leprosy.
Mm.
Like, I've been so tempted to put that in a D&D game. Is this 1 quarter challenge rating 3 HP, but if it bites you, you now have to make a Constitution saving throw to see if you get leprosy or not. Bring back some 2nd edition rules, which currently D&D is doing a lot of.
Or you can bring back 1st edition rules and give them super tetanus.
That would have to come from a or not possum. Possums don't carry that. Raccoon. Also, speaking of raccoons, because Emily mentioned it and a couple other folks have mentioned it, I will be running a Crash Pandas game now that is a stagecoach job. I think it will be fun.
Yeah, that's legit. It is ridiculous, and there is nothing serious about that game in any way, shape, or form. However, I do believe that Crash Pandas, especially if you put the player decisions on a timer, is really good at developing critical thinking.
It is. I also love that the most violent games I have ever run are Crash Panda games. I have yet to have a set of murder hobos in D&D do as much damage as the last 24-hour Crash Pandas game that got 5 stars GTA New Orleans level.
Well, I mean, you give us a rocket and set us loose on I-10. Of course it's gonna happen. And as panda, come on, man. As bears, yeah, game over, man.
See, the Honey Heist game wasn't that violent. It just turned into a wrestling match. Crash Pandas resulted in a triple-digit kill count.
The one that put the bus in the way.
I also did not expect y'all to launch another player on a rocket through a window to hijack a military-grade helicopter.
Good times.
Jesus Christ, that game.
That game is awesome.
It is. We need to play the goat game that he developed, the Goat Crashers, to where you're a group of goats crashing a party.
Oh yeah, that has to happen.
The other one, and Christina wants to run it, so I got to get her to actually run it. There is one where you play a murder of crows or a murder of ravens at the Tower of London on a heist to steal the crown jewels. It's like four ravens and one crow. And part of the crow's job is to make sure no one thinks that they're not a raven.
Yeah, that shit's just ridiculous and amazing in so many different ways.
But the thing we really need to do is try to get Cannon over here for it so he can play Critter Showdown, because I'm going to make Emily actually run a game of Critter Showdown.
And I want odds on if I roll another snake.
I'm going to say you and I don't get the roll anymore. We just show up as 2 shots and nope rope.
Yeah, I mean, I'm down. And Nope Rope just and it's progressively like 5 years down the line. So Nope Rope is just getting older and older, and and like less willing to take to put up with shit. It and failing just as hard.
And I will have to roll to see if I can succeed at shitting in the street.
Exactly.
I feel like that's going to have to be merch. If we ever do merch for anything, roll to shit in the street has to be a shirt.
I rolled the success on shitting in the street.
Dear God.
Uh,
Smashy Smash has to be a shirt at some point, though.
oh God, yes.
For anyone listening that hasn't heard before, Tarl Cannon in our first game before we ever streamed, if it's like, well, what's Hiram gonna do? Smashy Smash, and he did.
Yeah, constantly.
I
Like
think
smashy smash is not an action. Smashy smash is a way of life.
I think Cannon rolled the most nat 20s of the last half of that campaign.
I can't help it because I knock heads off when I hurl my hammer
This is true. And speaking of which, you posted up
or squish them like grapes.
let's see. Cannon also posted something. Kyle, did you take a look at it? What Cannon posted?
I did not. Where is it?
It's in the Facebook chat. If you want to make a large multi-level dungeon, find
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
payout. I had never thought of that. That is
Genius on so many different levels.
it is so good, especially like some of the old abandoned malls, like the one where they shot Day of the Dead.
Mm-hmm.
God, that's such a good idea. Thank you for sharing that, Cannon. So if y'all run into a dungeon, all of a sudden there's a JC Penney's, you know whose fault it is.
Yep, and if I'm playing it, yeah, you'll find me at the pennies.
Well, one thing I'll say is in any mall you will not find me at the Dick's anymore because they don't carry firearms. Not
You
because
know,
I was going to buy one. It was always kind of funny. It's like, well, if the zombie apocalypse happens, I know which store is going to be the most useful immediately. The one that sells shotguns.
I was gonna say Chick-fil-A because they're after brains.
Just fling the Chick-fil-A sandwich at them.
No, I mean, considering that considering that Chick-fil-A has essentially decided to play the Germans and the Nazis in Raiders of the Lost Ark. You know, the whole hoarding artifacts.
That's Hobby Lobby.
Oh, yeah, that was Hobby Lobby.
Yeah.
It wasn't
So
Chick-fil-A.
let's go on this one, fellas, for just a second, because I gotta get your opinion. Hobby Lobby's owner used Hobby Lobby money to buy artifacts, some of which through legitimate auctions, some of which through the black market, so that they could obtain about a third of the Epic of Gilgamesh to
Yeah.
put in a Bible museum. So here's the thing: one, illegal acquisition of artifacts is super not cool. But two, if you're gonna have a Bible museum, if you're gonna be that dude and you're gonna establish a Bible museum, why are you gonna put the Epic of Gilgamesh in it? Like, because I have either of y'all actually read any of the Epic of Gilgamesh?
I have not.
Nope.
So Gilgamesh, 1/3 to 1/2 god, depending on the translation. Goes on a killing spree at one point, unless I'm remembering wrong, but I think he goes on a killing spree at one point because a goddess turns down his sexual proposals. Pitches a temper tantrum over that, kills a bunch of, random plebeians because, if you're not a noble in the ancient world. But also outside of that, super fornication, super murder, super covetous, super steely. So if you're like wanting to follow the 10 commandments, I guess, Gilgamesh is not your bro. Plus his buddy Enkidu,
Um.
who
Uh,
some historians would say were just really close friends. Also, the flood epic predates the Noah story and has a lot of similarities. And I'm like, why would you put this in your museum that's trying to say the Bible is super dope?
all I'm saying is that at 40 to 60% of everything that you just described sounds like Hobby Lobby.
It still is Hobby Lobby, but I'm wondering if anybody thought they bought a cuneiform wall tablet. It's like, uh-oh, what did I buy from Hobby Lobby? Before they realize it's made out of plaster. But no, I mean, the big thing, I'm like, you tell me that they're stealing, if you told me they had stolen original copies of part of the Bible, or bought original copies of the Bible, or bought some holy artifact like an ossuary that contained the bones of a saint or something like that, that would make sense for me in a Bible museum. But the Epic of Gilgamesh? And yay, verily, Gilgamesh did walk out of his bedroom and go, "Where are the fine bitches at? I do need them." It's
Because a lot of your big businesses, to get out of taxes, are buying art and artifacts and things of that nature and antiques as investments, so they don't have to claim that money on their taxes, and they've still got value.
so it's a double screw them then. Oh no, it's just Emily told me that, and I started laughing because of the concept of Bible Museum, Epic of Gilgamesh not mixing. It'd be like saying that you put Zeus in a Good Parent exhibit. But the one thing I'll give Hobby Lobby is actually turning over these artifacts pretty readily so that they don't go to jail. So at least they're going to give them back. Also, it turns out some of the ones they bought from ISIS. So, yeah. But I guess the long and short of that is at least these things still exist because some of those artifacts were getting destroyed. Now on to Chick-fil-A. Chick-fil-A is just, when you started talking about the Germans, I was like, are you going to start talking about the fried chicken wars or the chicken sandwich wars that are apparently going on still?
Yeah, I mean, as far as chicken goes, I mean, shit, dude, Chick-fil-A is not that good. It's not good enough for them to give me their money, especially when you've got close enough facsimiles in Popeyes. KFC's is actually the closest that I found to Chick-fil-A. McDonald's has a new chicken sandwich that's similar. Everybody's got a friggin' a good chicken sandwich. Their niche market is over.
Well, the big thing,
How,
the
however,
big problem I run into here, man, people start talking about Popeyes and yeah, Popeyes is good, but I live in Monroe, where the only good chicken place is the very large Chick-fil-A in West Monroe. Because if you go to any other chicken place here, you got to deal with some bullshit to get your chicken. Like Popeye's 80% chance it's the wrong thing. Zaxby's way too expensive, but I want to steal the Zaxby sauce. Raising Cane's can kiss my ass. Plain ass breaded ass chicken strips. And I keep hearing about Bojangles, but there's not a Bojangles here. So literally, it's the service and the places in Monroe are so crappy that my only option for a decent chicken sandwich would be the Chick-fil-A, which means I just don't get a chicken sandwich.
No, like no bullshit. Um, no, the new the new chicken sandwich at McDonald's is actually really good. It's really good as well. And then I think Burger King just came out with one as well.
I will have
So
to
them,
look, but like I'm saying, it's like my problem is like I said, I live in Monroe. I go other places, and all of a sudden, really crappy food chains here are freaking stellar. Like the Popeyes up in South Bend, Indiana, which is like the only glimmer of Southern fried chicken I think that exists that far north, and anything that actually has spice. I'm waiting for my wife to throw something at me.
she won't. She knows you're not wrong.
Has good service. The two Popeyes here in Monroe is either deep fried microwave stuck to the bottom of your chicken strip or maybe a drug deal in the progress. And that is simply our two locations. The Churches is okay if they don't run out of chicken, which they keep doing. Like, how can you run a chicken restaurant and run out of chicken at 1 p.m.?
There was a good span period where my mother-in-law was an assistant manager and then a manager at Popeyes. It happens more than you think.
Like, I mean, I guess it's a first world problem on my end, but it's just one of those of you run a chicken place. What do you need to always have? Chicken.
True, but it's actually a fine line between having enough chicken and having too much chicken, which goes to waste.
That's true. Also, we got the cousin Ronnie making everything much more difficult to actually transport.
And this as well. So honestly, they're like my mother-in-law would call around and essentially borrow chicken from other Popeyes.
I now feel like I need a T-shirt that says "borrowed chicken."
Yeah.
Nothing like chicken IOUs in Louisiana.
Hey.
Oh shit, that might start a feud if you have too many chicken IOUs in this state.
As long as they don't get it confused from chicken and swamp chicken.
Oh. So, another fun fact, my mother is now looking at all the houses across the road in my neighborhood because she wants bayou front property because they're looking at moving back to Monroe. My dad retires. Yay me. But she also did not understand when I said, well, if you buy bayou front property, you have to be ready for a danger log to be on your property. And I cannot help you with that necessarily. She does not know what a danger log is. So I sent her a picture of Loki. I sent her a picture of Loki Gator.
Yeah.
Which on connected that, my dad then tried to argue with me about the effectiveness of Loki Gator, which means I've actually had at least one nerd argument with my dad that did not involve football. Because my dad is a football nerd, but his whole thing with Loki Gator is it couldn't move that quick. I've seen how quick they run. I'm like, it's fantasy, and it would be a Asgardian alligator.
Yeah.
It couldn't bite like that. It's fiction. It's an Asgardian alligator. But what do you think about it? I want one. My wife, they have a Funko Pop. Have y'all seen the Funko Pop of Loki Gator?
No, because I would own it if I had.
Let me find this real quick.
Well, he's looking for the. I found a website that is it's unlike any I've ever seen. If you ever order anything from overseas, you know how hard it is to track things.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I found a website. You don't even have to know who shipped it in. All you have to know is a tracking number, and it will give you detail day by day, hour by hour on where your package is.
Nice. Next week.
I'll put the next week. I'll put a link in the Discord channel, and if Hewitt wants to share it, he can.
See, I just posted it into the bonus round table for y'all to see the Loki Gator Funko Pop. I do not know when it's out, if it is out or if it is sold out already by pre-orders.
It wouldn't surprise me if it was sold out. It was pre-order sold out.
Because I'm not seeing it. Like, it's also one of those, like, Funkos, like, have so many stores that are, this is a store exclusive, which means if this was at Target, there might be a Black Friday rush on this little vinyl figurine. But do you see it?
Looking it up.
See it? Like I said, I put it in
Oh,
the
yeah.
table.
Yeah. Yeah.
You need that in your life now?
I want it.
The line is going to have President Loki, Kid Loki, Loki Gator, or Croaky. But that's an alligator. You look at that snout, it's a damn alligator.
Yes.
And then classic Loki, big boss, summoning the greatest of illusions while staring directly into the void. Classic Loki. My dad was trying to get me to explain multiverse theory to him, and he was just saying, I don't get this. This is stupid, but I want another season. Because he was trying to argue not everyone there was a Loki. I'm like, they're all Loki variants. Well, why was one president? I said, because he convinced the world or convinced America to vote for him. So he's president. And he said, am I going to have to read a comic book for this? I said, yes, well, then I'm not going to do it. Just, I bet, he goes, who did Loki run for? He ran on the Loki party. He wasn't going to be either one of these guys. He kind of ran on the, I'm lying to you, but I'm honest about lying to you. Therefore, I'm the best candidate because the others two are lying about lying.
Yeah. So he took that spot in that election because, I mean, hell, that's every year.
To be fair, I think right now we would do that. We would vote for Loki. Simply because he said, I promise you, I'm not lying to you about lying to you because I am lying to you. And we're like, well, he's honest about being a shit, so better than the other ones.
I mean, shit, dude. You and I live in Louisiana, dude. Like,
We
there is a distinct there.
We are the state that produced Huey Long and Edwin Edwards.
There is a distinct possibility that there is still a distinct possibility that Edwin Edwards will be our next governor.
Even though he's dead, yeah.
He died like 3 months ago. There is still a possibility that Edwin Edwards will be our next governor.
Yeah, well, my mother told me he died. I said I'd still vote for him.
Yep.
And that's the thing is, like, I said that as a joke, but there are people who would literally do that. And I guess to step into politics for a second, let's go back to the early 90s. What were the choices? Like, what was it in 1992? Saturday Night Live made fun of this. 1992, what was it? We could either vote for David Duke or Edwin Edwards. Either vote for a Grand Wizard of the Ku Klux Klan or the guy who openly admitted to stealing $1 million from the state But at least he told us he took it.
Yeah, and when asked about it, his response was essentially, "I took mine off the back end."
He pulled a Huey Long. Here's the thing: the state of Louisiana doesn't care if you steal money. Just don't steal it before we get the job done. If there's like
Yeah,
$50 left over, you can have it. We won't pitch a fit. But the problem is too many people like that senator from Plaquemines a couple years ago that was stealing money from projects before they started, like taking like 5,000 here, 10,000, ended up with like what, $2.3 million he kept in a cooler under a deer carcass. And when he got caught, his response was, "I like to keep my assets cold." That's the state we're in. 155% of St. Tammany Parish voted in the 96 election. We did not call for a voter fraud investigation.
yeah.
Now, if nothing else, we're flamboyant about it.
Well, at least we're honest.
Oh God, yeah. When I was in college, I had a buddy that was a poli-sci major, and he said what we consider the normal landscape in the state of Louisiana politically is at least 10 class action lawsuits against a given senator or governor. I was like, happens, dude.
Huh.
And y'all make the joke in the movie Black Sheep in the state of Washington that, a couple counties had above 100% voter turnout. And we're like, this is unusual. I thought dead people, you can still vote up to 5 years after you're dead by law. I think that's actually still true if we need to look that up. Like you can't vote if you've been dead for 5 or more years, I think is the situation because of some of the shit that's happened in this state.
Yeah,
We're special like that.
yeah, we are. On on crafting, on the crafting side of things, uh, I have I've almost finished with another prototype dice box, which I think is going to be really nice once I get it refined. I now have there's a store in Foley, Alabama, which is just north of Gulf Shores, Orange Beach, in the Tanger Outlet Mall called Direct Tools. It is a store that sells refurbished tools. So my dad got a Ryobi Plus One grinder, and I bought a Ryobi Plus One palm router, and that thing is awesome.
Oh no, they're sweet.
Uh,
I really wish they had a plunge router with that setup.
yeah. Uh, so the but on another note, I have a friend of mine that is tomorrow, this Saturday coming up, that is going to be uh bringing me a rapier in order to build a sheath for it.
Nice. I still gotta get my leatherworking stuff out of the shed back at the other house. See, craft wise, I have an entire box of Mechanicus Mechanicus Adeptus that I have to paint for whenever we do the steampunk game, which I think the steampunk game is going to get rolled into the 24-hour campaign. I just got to clear that with Topher. Also, they are now making Furball Granger minis that are
Huh.
super detailed, which is why I did not mind buying them. Like I've been trying not to buy like hero minis, just monsters, because I got plenty of generic adventurer. But no, these things are like 2 inches tall, dope as hell Furball Rangers, and I was like, yeah, I gotta buy you, and a Displacer Beast.
I mean, yeah.
That's where I'm at craft wise right now.
Only thing I got to report on the craft front is I ended up with 2 kilograms of amethyst that is gem quality that I'm getting ready to. When I get my shop finished, I'll have a place to sit down and start working on cutting.
Yeah, you have been doing amazing with all that stonework, Cannon. It looks beautiful. Are you still working on the Viking weave for wire?
Well, I tried my hand at it with the wrong kind of wire and got frustrated. Now I've got the right kind of wire, and I hadn't tried my hand at it again. But you don't use half hard wire to do it with because it kinks and breaks, and it's a pain in the ass.
Just another tool set and skill set for you in your long list. And I'm over here hoping that I haven't forgotten half the crap I learned from you and Cedric and just screwing around with leather when I actually get back to it.
Yeah, you'll be fine.
I haven't lost any of the woodworking, but to be fair, I am a shop furniture level guy, not a house furniture level yet.
That's all just practice.
But I will be once I get the shop cleaned up a little bit, I will be making a cypress bench to go just behind our kitchen door that will also have a shoe shelf. And Kyle that lives next door, Bosch Kyle, has probably half of a cypress tree sitting at his parents' house right now. And
Ooh.
well, we bought it. He paid $100, and it's probably close to $700-800 worth of cypress. They are 12 to 16 foot long, 3/4 inch slices of a cypress tree. I carved a bowl out of part of it for him. But we're going to build him a hallway tree, and then I get a lot of the scraps. So I'll be figuring out something to do with that.
Yeah.
Oh. Let's see. We're getting close.
I still got a piece of cypress that's 1.25 inches thick, 4 foot long, and 28 inches at the widest point and 24 inches at the narrowest point.
So you mean a large coffee table?
Yes.
I also have a lot of cherry to make a live edge cherry coffee table to put in my living room. So once I get everything settled, I am heavily getting back into making stuff because, for lack of a better term, God damn it, I need to. Like, now for anybody listening, I know that y'all two understand this, but for anybody else that's listening, once you learn that you like to craft, once you learn you are a maker, to go an extended point without making is nails on a chalkboard.
Yep.
Like, not being able to make something is more frustrating than failing at making what you thought you wanted to make. Because
Yep.
I'll say this, because I've learned every time I failed at making something, I've learned one way not to make what I wanted to make. So it was not wasted time. But I desperately need shop time here soon, but I gotta get my shop in order. And hopefully after sometime between 5 a.m. and 11 p.m. Tuesday, I will be able to.
Good.
Let's see, we're pushing with about 55 minutes right now. So any recommendations? I'm going to recommend Izzy Swan. He has been posting a few things, and the coolest thing he's made recently, have y'all seen the battery operated vacuum glass holders?
No.
Okay. for any of us, it's about a 1 hand's width handle, and it's a small suction device, probably about a foot, maybe a little bit more than a foot long, and you use them to move. For one person, you get 2 of them, and then a person can move a plywood size sheet of glass. I mean, since glass isn't super heavy, it's just awkward. Well, he started modifying these things to where you can pick up plywood with them and do some, like he's used them to do vacuum sealing, but he has been playing around and building jigs for them, and he made a vacuum mounted impact driver with a masonry bit, so that when you're drilling through concrete, it's straight 100%. And he did it as just a fun project. And he did a YouTube Shorts video that's about a minute long, and it's hearing a grown man in his late 40s giggle about the thing he's been screwing around with working perfectly is almost as good as hearing a baby laugh out of pure joy.
Mm-hmm.
And it is, and the way he's played with these things recently, like he's made shelving brackets and holders, just taking a tool, modifying it for a very specific purpose, even if it's not the most useful purpose, is really cool. And he's been working on that. And he's also the fact that he had major back surgery because he couldn't even stand a year ago, and now he's walking around again. So I'm really going to recommend the Izzy Swan videos recently because of modification of tools and just the fact there is nothing but pure joy in what he's doing. Like, it's not just work, it is a passion project.
Yeah.
Oh, and I'll also recommend the new He-Man series. It was pretty fun, even though it's only 5 fucking episodes.
Yeah, I haven't seen it yet.
It's worth a watch. It's not excellent. It's really good fan fiction, which is the best you can say for any reboot of a series.
Yeah.
It's fun, and it doesn't suffer the Kevin Smith. It's not Kevin Smith sauced covered.
Yeah. Yeah, that's on our list. And then the Suicide Squad is on the list as well.
Rocky Balboa is King Shark.
And
Well, my recommendation, if you're working with acid and water, is remember the AAA rule of safety. Always add acid to the water, never water to the acid.
I have learned something.
I did not know that.
If you add water to the acid, you get an exothermic reaction, and it will spew acid all over you because it superheats. If you add acid to the water, you still get a reaction, but it's diluted down because it's going into water to dilute.
Is this a lesson that was learned because of actions that occurred beforehand?
Let's just say 2nd and 3rd degree acid burns are not fun.
Oof. So I need to get the more you know just set up the shoot across.
Yeah.
Because that is an important lesson that we now know.
And when you want to neutralize muriatic acid, for every gallon of acid you have, you better have six pounds of baking soda.
That is to know.
Yep. What's your recommendation, Kyle?
Um, at this point, I honestly don't have one because I spent the last week, like I said, I was on vacation last week, so I made it a point to kind of made it a point to stay off of the internet all week. So I actually haven't watched or seen anything um in the last week or so. So everything pretty much stays the standard that I did. Uh, my self reliance, Sean James, and I mean whatever.
So I'm going to say this: your recommendation is stay off the internet and go to the beach at least a little bit.
Yeah, that guy.
See, you can have the beach. I'd rather stay off the internet and go stay out in the mountains for a little bit.
I honestly, as would I. However, uh, that was not the option that was presented. The option presented was the beach.
I still want the three of us and whoever else in the steampunk community wants to. I want to go to Arkansas and dig for crystals.
Yep.
I'm down. I'm also down for trying to get a group of us to go to Gatlinburg and, you know, have the redneck Christmas type vacation. Not talking bad about that. It's just like anytime I heard Gatlinburg, it is always from my more country family members. But if we went up that far, I'd have to say we'd also go to Dollywood. My wife is saying I just want to go to Dollywood. She is a national treasure and should be appreciated.
You are correct, sir.
All right. Well, we've gone over an hour, guys. I think it's a good time to stop, and I got to be up at 5:30 tomorrow.
All right. I gotta get up and do the first day of the last 3 days of insurance stuff. So yay.
I don't have to get up because I'm off, but I've got to get up to finish putting roof rafters together.
Ain't that a bit of a bitch, but also a bit of a joy? Anyway, Kyle, if you'll give us our sign off.
Yeah, well, we appreciate y'all hanging out with us, and sitting around and just listening to us kind of just bullshit and give us a chance to sit down and vise with each other because we don't get to do that near as much as we would like to. So we appreciate y'all sitting with us and listening. Until next time, don't let you meet.